Just kidding, folks, and welcome to the Daily Space Weather Show. Pardon the lack of audio yesterday. It was an oversight. We have since corrected these issues. We're starting things out today looking at the past 24 hours of the local yellow dwarf's antics. Guess what? There's another CME headed this way. We'll tell you all about it in another exciting edition. From the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Let's first take a look at the Northern Hemisphere. There was some filamentary activity going on up there, but most importantly, well, we'll get to it. First, let's take a look at some more wavelengths here. The original we showed was 193 plus 171 angstroms. Here is 193 plus 304 angstroms. We've also put together 335 plus 211 angstroms. Great view of a lot of plasma filaments up there. Some quite gigantic. So here's an equatorial zoom, and you will see a CME popping off over there on the left side of your screen around the eastern limb. But the important CME came from this area right in here. And now it's headed right to your area wherever you are. Yeah, it's headed to the Earth in general. And we'll show you the coronagraphs to prove it. Here's a southern hemisphere. And we do see at least one new sunspot just rose down there in the southeast, just northeast of the Earth scale on that image. The most picturesque area is going to be the southwestern limb. There's a money shot for you. This is still the most likely place to see large flares, in my opinion. And here's that new sunspot rising in the southeast. It's moderately sized. It's not tiny. It's not huge. It's in the middle of the range. And let's take a moment to talk channel. Yeah, let's talk about the channel, folks. So first of all, please support the channel. One of the ways you can do it is by simply visiting our links. Thanks to everybody who has throughout the years. So visit that there homepage, why don't you? Smashomash.com. We launched a massive web ring to benefit people like you and to combat the pathetic suppression of people's speech on the internet. What kind of planet is that? An unacceptable one, that's what kind. So Smashomash.com is the homepage. Find our links there. The following are paid endorsements. Starting out with our featured product of the day, which is the Universum Liberate, the Galactic Federation Special Forces logo. And look at the massive savings. 30% off spiral notebooks, 20% off throw blankets, 20% off comforters, 30% off tapestries. Get an acrylic block for 20% off. 25% off a canvas print. So massive savings there across Redbubble. Lots of different things to save a bundle on. Even a link down there to get 15% off. You can find links below this video to our Redbubble shop. And I would say to each of you, Universum Liberate. It's just the motto. That's the motto of the Galactic Federation Special Forces. So, if you've brought peace to your homestead, your county, your state, your region, your country, continent, hemisphere, planet, solar system, bring peace to the galaxy. Free them all. Universum Liberate. Maybe that's too reckless for you. If so, terribly sorry. Another paid endorsement is our Hemp Lucid shop. You can save there as well by entering the promo code SMASHOMASH10. So just enter that promo code on your hemplucid.com order. You can find a link below the video to our storefront from Hemp Lucid. If you want to know what I endorse, how about the Focus Mushroom Gummies and the Immune Stacks? I took some of those just today. Again, save some cash with the promo code SMASHOMASH10 at hemplucid.com, or just shop via our link. You can find it on the homepage and below this video in the description. You can also find our Amazon shop, another paid endorsement. A series of shopping lists there at the Amazon shop. Perhaps pick up your bulk spices or maybe some coffee. Yeah, the Scandinavian whole bean. You gotta love it. Good times. Amazon.com/shop/SmashOmash. And if you want additional content, become a member of the Smash Team at SmashOmash.com/SmashTeam. We launched our own subscription services site back in October of 2021 because we needed more than Patreon had to offer. So we still are on Patreon if you want to donate that way. Give Smash staff a raise by becoming a member of the Smash Team. SmashOmash.com/SmashTeam. And let's get back to space. Yes, back to space, folks. It's time. So, what do you got? Well, there is yesterday plus today in SDO continuum, and talk about a low number of sunspots. It's still declining since yesterday's video, so declining further here in the past 24 hours. There's a colorized magnetogram for November 15th and November 16th to date. So it looks like sunspot number will continue to decline unless we see some rapid growth or new sunspots rising. Now let's talk volcanoes briefly. Volcanodiscovery.com is only showing 2 volcanoes, Ibu exploding, producing an 8,000-foot ash plume, and Popocatépetl exploding, producing a 20,000-foot ash plume. But of course, the real place to watch, folks, is Iceland. So we've got the multi-view webcams up here, and all quiet on the Icelandic front so far. So we'll be watching that. It should be interesting. Looks like a major eruption, possibly a new era of volcanism about to happen at Iceland. So exciting stuff there. Next, looking at earthquakes briefly. And it has calmed down over the past 12 hours. Here are the past 24 hours. Quakes of a 5 or greater magnitude. So we had a 5.7 in Indonesia. That was at about a half hour before midnight last night. Chile had a 5.0, about 10 minutes till midnight. And then Fiji had a 5.1 at 5 minutes to midnight. Then Indonesia, about 2.5 hours later, had a 5.0. And that is the extent of the 5 and greater magnitude quakes. And let's return to space. Yay, space. There's the past 24 hours in the house favorite wavelength. The Solar Dynamics Observatory's 171 angstroms. Always a classic. So you'll see a CME up here, perhaps. You'll see another one down here, but the most important one comes from just around the center of the solar disk. And let's take a little closer look here. It occurred later in the day, so in the late afternoon today, that CME has blasted off. And don't worry, we'll show you the analysis footage. Momentarily. So next, moving forward from earthquakes, 10.7 centimeter radio flux is all the way down to 119, or I think it's 118 solar flux units actually. 118 is the new radio flux number. There's the 1 year chart. Dropping below 120 there is that black line. That's the 1 year graph of the 10.7 centimeter radio flux, often referred to as the F107, the radio emitted from the upper chromosphere and lower corona. Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard here, not forecasting any geomagnetic storms or geomagnetic unrest. See our previous daily space weather videos for any differing opinions. But guess what? There's another CME on the way. We'll get to it. First, Earth's magnetic moment from space. So there are the past, what do we got? Here are the past 4 hours of magnetohydrodynamic pressure modeled by the Space Weather Modeling Framework. If you're wondering how that works, head to the Geospace Magnetosphere Movies page and click Details. There'll be a link there to the Space Weather Modeling Framework. You can even download the software if you like. It's derived from a lot of different variables: magnetometers, proton flux, electron flux, solar wind density, speed, magnetic fields. Speaking of magnetic fields, here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. Also depicting the last 4 hours, we have geomagnetically calm conditions have returned. So that's what's going on at the ground level. KP 1.33 is the global geomagnetic average. 1.33, quite geomagnetically calm conditions. And look at the solar wind next. Here's the ACE. It does have some missing data. 370 for the solar wind speed, about 2.7 protons per cubic centimeter for the solar wind density. Here's a Discover spacecraft. And pretty consistent, just under 400 kilometers a second for the solar wind velocity. Solar wind density here, about 2 3/4 protons per cubic centimeter. Pretty unremarkable there. Next, our GOES magnetometers, pretty smooth here. Again, no major space weather coming in, so no major perturbations to the magnetic fields measured by the GOES 16 and GOES 18 in their geosynchronous near equatorial orbits. And next is our line of sight, our top view ecliptic plane field plot. And check it out, Earth is in the process of snapping into a South Pole current sheet as we create the video. So you see all that indecision happening there just east of the Earth. Check it out. You bring up the last image, and the South Pole current sheet has just popped up. So Earth is in the process, likely snapping into that South Pole current sheet, that South Pole magnetic sector, as you could call it. And yeah, that's the current situation. Sector boundary crossing happening as we create the video, folks. Next, our line of sight field plot. Always a classic. A great indicator of the overall state of affairs with the closest star there. And here's our line of sight ecliptic plane field plot. So it looks like South Pole magnetism has won the war immediately east of Earth as Earth moves into a South Pole sector. Next, our line of sight field plot, super important to the solar cycle progression. And here's the last image. So we've got all North Pole coronal holes except for this one. So that one's south, and all of the rest of these are north. So that is the scenario with coronal holes, and let's move on to sunspots. Sunspots. People count them. People get mad about their existence. It's very strange. Very strange, folks. How bizarre. How bizarre. People are mad about sunspots. So anyway, sunspot number here dipping way down to, what is that? 35, 34, I'd say. 34 sunspots. Pretty low number of sunspots, considering we're only less than a year out from solar maximum likely. So very low number of sunspots there at about 34. Next, our flare probability monitor and scoreboard. And they did finally name 3488. It has since evaporated. That sunspot is no longer there, so that'll be dropping off the list while another new sunspot gets added down here. So really, we're going to see sunspot number dip a lot unless we see some more sunspots form or rise in the next 24 hours, because several of these will now be out of view. So sunspot number forecast is to dip once again tomorrow, dropping down to like 25 maybe. Maybe even as low as 12, actually. Maybe even as low as 6 starting tomorrow. So could see a very low sunspot number coming through. And here come sunspots from, that is the SDO. And we've put together the 94 angstroms here along with the SDO continuum to highlight the active regions. Here we've dropped 94 angstroms, just the SDO continuum there, to show the dark ombre of the sunspots that are still there. And before we get to energetic particles and solar flares and so forth, let's do a cosmic ray update. We haven't done one for a while, and we've had a recent downtick in cosmic ray flux. So let's take a look at some monitors. So, first of all, Apatity in Barentsburg. Apatity is down for the past 30 days. Barentsburg has a bunch of missing data for the past 28 days. So we'll ignore that one, but we'll crisscross the globe here and look at several other cosmic ray monitors. First, that Barentsburg data is going to come back, by the way. First, Athens, Greece. There you go. There's Athens neutron monitor. Also down over the past 30 days. Whoops. Next, Mexico City, going even farther south. Also down over the past 30 days, but more modestly. Coming up here in the past few days, but for the past 30, it's a slight downtick at Mexico City. Next, we'll go way back up north to the land of Finland. There's Oulu, Finland's neutron monitor. One of the classic neutron monitors there. Also down over the past 30 days. And by the way, for everybody who thinks it's a grand solar minimum, I would note this. The solar cycle 23 to 24 minimum transition was much weaker than the 24 to 25 solar minimum. The thermosphere was colder. Cosmic ray flux was higher. Sunspot number was lower back here. So none of this stuff looks like a grand solar minimum. Everybody was talking about how we're going to see higher and higher cosmic ray flux. Well, we're at the lowest cosmic ray flux in nearly 20 years. Lowest cosmic ray flux level since 2004. Right there it is on the graph. And most of the world's monitors agree with that. That's not an outlier. The Oulu neutron monitor is highly recognized as being legit. Next, we'll go as far south as we can get. Here's DOMB Antarctica, down over the past 30 days, and there's DOMC Antarctica, down over the past 30 days. So by the way, we are expecting to see cosmic ray flux dip even further. So there's a forecast for you, and let's get to energetic particles and solar flares. After all, we don't want the video to be too lengthy. So there's the proton flux. It is at baseline levels. No spikes in the proton flux. There's the X-ray flux, and this last long-duration flare was indeed a CME associated solar flare. It was only a C5 approximately. And let's take a look at flaring. So let's see, there's the SDO 94 plus 131 angstroms. And incidentally, my opinion is that we're still most likely to see large flares on the southwestern limb. There is a slightly higher chance of large flares in the southeastern limb. We do see some activity over there after all. And I suspect there are some more active regions that are going to rise in the northeast in the next couple of days, just not by tomorrow, perhaps. So anyway, that's another 24-hour video for you. And let's move on and take a step back and see what's going on overhead. So here is a star chart. That is from skyandtelescope.org. If you want to make your own, just put in your zip code or your city. And we've got a lovely crescent moon over there just setting in the southwestern sky in the constellation of Sagittarius. So, and everybody knows, folks, that when the center of the galaxy and the moon are lined up, that's very spooky. So if you're looking for a reason to climb down into your bunker, there you go. The moon is in Sagittarius, folks. There's a straight line from Earth to the moon to the center of the galaxy, which means doomsday. Oh, knows. Everybody knows that lines mean death. Lines, when things align, it's very scary, folks, very scary. So there you go. At least I gave you one reason to climb into your bunker. Here's what's going on in the solar system, by the way. We're going to do a 1-week forecast. There's that crescent moon I just talked about. And in 1 week, we will have a gibbous waxing moon. We'll be only a few days out from the full moon of November. And let's continue on to the astronomy photo of the day. Yeah, the astronomy photo of the day. Pretty sweet. This is a Venus occultation happening over Warsaw, Poland. So a daytime occultation of Venus behind the moon there on November 9th is the astronomy photo of the day. apod.nasa.gov. There you can see the Earth's satellite obscuring Earth's sister planet, second from the sun. The chemically rich, ultra soupy Venus. And let's move on to CMEs. Yeah, it's CME time. And it's a pretty exciting time for CMEs, so check this out. Another CME is headed toward the Earth. So we'll let these play through twice. You can see a halo-like eruption happening there, as we've got another earthly directed CME. So we're expecting that to arrive sometime late in the day on the 19th. Late in the day on the 19th. So another CME impact there in the forecast. So there's one event coming out of the south. And then later in the day, oh, all right, do we have missing data there? Let me just bring this back. Oh, we got like 6 hours of missing data, folks. So that is suboptimal, but one of those CMEs does likely have earthly directed components. You see that halo-like feature right in there? So I believe that came from right in the middle of the solar disk also. Let's take a look at it from stereo A's perspective. That is where stereo A is located. And here we've got the raw coronagraph on the left and the difference imagery on the right. Oh, the difference imagery is a little bit dated there as well. So those are not synced. Let's see. Do we have up to date? Nope. But we do have that CME with the halo. So here it is. So most of the ejecta is off to the south, but there are components there that appear to be earthly directed. So good times for all of you aurora chasers. There it is. Nice. All right, so let's move to our custom coronagraphs. These are 24-hour videos for the SDO. Again, there is some missing data at the end, unfortunately, on the LASCO coronagraphs. Let's move in one step here. So you'll see some plasma motions right in this area. And that is where that CME came from, almost right in the very center of the solar disk is where we believe that originated. So that is likely going to include a significant earthly directed component. We could see as much as a KP7 from that. A G3 class geomagnetic storm could be triggered by that, depending on things like the magnetic field strength, the magnetic field's vertical orientation, the plasma density, and the plasma speed especially. Here's an even closer view. We've dropped C3 and added 304 angstroms to the SDO imagery. So yeah, good times, folks. Good times. Some more space weather finally on the way. About to drop that cosmic ray flux even lower. So there are filaments. 304 plus 193 angstroms are a fantastic pair of wavelengths through which to view filaments. So there you go. And let's switch to Big Bear. So we still do have some filaments that could be named. I mean, certainly some significant ones in the southern hemisphere, like this one here, this one here. This one here is already named. That's the George Soros filament. Let's hope that one doesn't destroy civilization. All right, it's not going to destroy civilization. But anyway, filaments, there you have them in grayscale as well. And we do have some prominences once again here. There's a North Polar one. And yeah, well, you see it. That's what we have it on the screen for. And by the way, if you want to name filaments, go do it over on Twitter. Twitter.com/smashomash. Or you could do x.com/smashomash. It's almost a brand, just not quite. Thanks to our 0 new followers over there on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Will you be our 500th? We're thinking about doing a merch giveaway for our 500th follower. Maybe not. Anyway, before we get the bonus features, here are the past couple of hours from the GOES 16 SUVI, and there is indeed some more activity going on over there behind the northeastern limb. So, likely an active region back there, probably a sunspot, probably at least beta gamma class sunspot. And let's get to bonus features. So the first bonus feature we're covering is satellite charging hazards. And we ain't got none. It's smooth sailing, folks. Smooth sailing for satellites. Electron flux is in a normal operating range. It's fairly unremarkable. There's the 1-year graph of the relativistic electrons, otherwise known as the electron flux. And here is NOAA's model. NOAA's forecast model is for slightly lower levels. Low to moderate levels in the coming days. And on the 19th, when we see that CME impact, you can expect a big dip in the electron flux, but that's not going to be represented there. Anyway, there's a dip in the electron flux coming. I'll just say that. Next, we're going to show the F layer. Yeah, the F layer, the layer of the ionosphere, where it gets measured. Okay? Feel free to pause the video on this frame if you're not familiar with the data depicted. Here's the ionosphere and vibrational frequency, courtesy of Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. So, once again, fairly unremarkable. There's absolutely nothing in here that's encouraging me to enter a bunker. Here's the anomaly from the 30-day median. And once again, sorry folks, no apocalypse being depicted in the ionosphere imagery. So if you were hoping for the end of civilization, still not on the way. So keep doing normal things. Anyway, there's the latest image, 2300 universal time anomalygram. There's the ionogram by itself. There's the anomaly from the 30-day median. Next, the WHAM, the whole atmosphere model. WHAM! The global ionosphere nowcast, depicting total electron content and maximum usable frequency in both raw data and the anomaly. For all of you GPS and radio operators out there, that should help it. Giving you a global view at a glance. By way of completeness, we'll also show the total electron content. Feel free to pause the video on this frame if you're not familiar with those distances in miles. Here is the global total electron content forecast, which has been looking messed up for weeks, but we're showing it anyway. Doesn't look right at all, not believable. And here is the anomaly from the 10-day average over North America. And that looks like it's missing some data too. Certainly not the normal amount of data shown there. But no major anomalies showing up on the total electron content over North America. We'll close out space weather with the latest high-res images. So first of all, what do we got? That is beta class. Straight up regular old everyday beta class. Not even beta gamma. Well, I guess it might be beta gamma. No, I think it's beta class. It's just beta class. End of discussion. And let's check out this new sunspot. There it is. Just peeking over the horizon there. It is alpha class so far. Again, this sunspot up here is... Oh, there still is barely an umbra there. I thought I saw some new active regions forming around here in the southeast as well, but looks like no more new sunspots yet. So, again, expecting a significant dip in sunspot number once again. We could get as low as, I would say, no lower than about 12. Probably more like 25 sunspots coming for tomorrow. And let's move on to remind you to press the like button. Before we do meteorology, press the like button, folks. Did you come for the space weather and stay for the rants? Well, thanks. Thanks to our new YouTube subscribers. Did you come for the space weather and stay for the meteorology? Did you come for the meteorology and stay for the space weather? Did you come for the cosmology and stay for the space weather? I don't know. But press the like button. If you're new to the channel, press subscribe. Do yourself a favor and get the world's most comprehensive daily space weather content and most detailed solar imagery in the known universe. The known universe. My voice is given out, folks. So, yeah, press the like button. And then we can move the video on, and then my voice won't be completely shattered by the end of the video, so I can yell at you people during the live premiere. Let's go looking for the world's largest waves. Yeah, I like to wave chase. I mean, I'm a huge fan of waves. Huge waves. You might think the world's largest waves are up here in the North Atlantic, and there are some pretty honorable mentions up there, over 30 footers. However, there's a much wavier portion of the planet right now, 40 footers in the Southern Ocean. So there you go. That's the world's largest waves. That depicts surface winds, and the color gradient depicts significant wave height. So those are the world's stormiest seas, folks. A couple pretty hot spots right now for all of you surf types. So, next we'll look at the regularly scheduled meteorology stuff, starting with surface winds of the eastern world. Shout out to our viewers from the east. Here are your jet streams. Shout out to our viewers from the central world. Here are your jet streams. There are your surface winds, and shout out to our viewers from the Americas. There are our surface winds. And there are the jet streams. Some huge bends happening here. Jet stream blowing backwards here off the coast of Oregon. That's interesting. Also, huge bends happening down here south of Mexico. Big snaky patterns here in the South Pacific as well. So some quite funky jet stream patterns happening there. And let's take a look at some imagery. So here is the clouds and fog wavelength, 3.9 micrometers infrared. And let's take a look at this low that's been hanging around Florida, bringing some very heavy winds to places like Miami. So there's that low. It's been breaking down here in the past few hours, but that's what's going on. We've got a bunch of weather warnings up the eastern seaboard. And before we do that, let's take a look at new snow. Here's your new snow forecast for the next 12 hours. Here's the next 24 hours. And there are the next 3 days. Looks like Smash Staff's mom is going to have a steady helping. of new snow. So that's what's going on. Here's the weather.gov map, and we've got all kinds of warnings up the Atlantic coast there. So storm warnings there as that low meanders its way up the east coast. A lot of wind warnings in the forecast. Let's take a look at some forecasts here from tropicaltidbits.com. Tropicaltidbits.com. It's where we typically show our forecasts. So go visit them. Go tell Dr. Levi Cohen that we said hi. Tell him Smash-O-Mash sent you. Here's a 72-hour GFS pressure and precipitation forecast. You can see that low is actually going to strengthen back up off the coast of North Carolina and then continue its way to the north-northeast. A bunch of snow will spread across the country there. Here is a total. This is the wind forecast, actually. First, this is the mean sea level pressure and 10-meter wind forecast. I see some heavy winds in some various spots there. I won't try to explain it. There's the imagery. That's why it's a video and not a radio show. Next, our total accumulated precipitation forecast. Once again, there you go. Some heavy rains there coming to Northern California, parts of Florida also. 72-hour GFS total accumulated precipitation forecast, and since some of that precipitation will be in snow form, there is a 72-hour accumulated positive snow depth change forecast in inches. And next, looking at lightning. So that's lightning for the Western world. And here's a real-time lightning map. Do we have any terrestrial strikes in the U.S.? I don't think so. Central America, though, has got some. Nicaragua! There's some thunder rolling in Nicaragua. Wow, Nicaragua's got a lot of creeks and rivers. Geez, look at all the waterways. Dag! Anyway, we'll close out this video with U.S. Doppler radar, clouds and fog, and water vapor. We've showed you the 50-state view. We'll end with the lower 48 view. So there's the Doppler. There is the satellite-based shortwave radiation map depicting clouds and fog, even when it's too dark for the visible satellite. And there's water vapor, depicting as in all of the water vapor. And you can see that moisture there butting up against some dry air around Tennessee. That dry air behaving like a wall and creating a thing like an atmospheric waterfall in that area. As air masses overlap, they're unable to support each other as they try to reach static equilibrium. Anyway, here's a recap. U.S. Doppler radar. There is clouds and fog for the lower 48 and Bermuda. And there is the water vapor map. And here is me ending this video. It's time to close out and get it onto your screens. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Press like, press subscribe, press share, leave a comment, visit our links. Support the channel, give Smash staff a raise by picking up some merch. And we'll see you soon. In the meantime, may that solar wind be at your back. And I'm just going to head to the bunker because I just like my bunker.